Hello again. Now we are going to move on to our new learning target, which is I will find the volume of cylinders. We'll just start with cylinders for now. Your cans of beans, your cans of soup, your oatmeal canisters, cylinders are everywhere. And this is how we are going to find the volume of said cylinder. So you'll see on here the volumes of a prism is, again, our volume equals our base, the area of the base times the height, whatever that area may be, whether it be an octagon, a triangle, or a rectangle. Now, cylinder, its base is a circle. So we're going to use pi r squared, which is the formula for the area of a circle times the height. So they're basically the same thing. It's still base times height. Just the base of a cylinder is a circle, which is pi r squared. Later on, we'll do pyramids, which you need 3 pyramids to fill the same void as a prism. So we have 1/3 BH in the cone, which is 1/3 of a cylinder. So we do 1/3 times pi r squared H. But for now, we're going to do just cylinders. So cylinder, again, is volume equals base, big B, times height. And then the big B, again, when we learned in our unit on circles, is pi r squared. And then we multiply that by the height, which gives us our volume, which is how much space can fit in our cylinder. So we're going to do some practice problems, just like I normally would in front of everybody. So here we have cylinder. Its radius is 6.1 feet, and its height is 12 feet. So here's what's going to happen. So my formula, I'm going to follow my formula, base times height. The base is pi r squared times my height. I'm going to use 3.14 for pi. So 3.14 is pi. 6.1 is my radius. I'm going to square that. Then I multiply it by 12, which is my height. So then again, I do 3.14 times 6.1 squared, which is 37.21, times 12. I put that all in my calculator, and I get about 1,402.07 feet cubed. I know it goes on longer. I rounded to the nearest hundredth, okay? So why don't you try it with this one? So we have a diameter here. See the pink line? It goes all the way across. So diameter is 11.4, and my height is 5. Because it's standing from base to base. And the distance between those two bases is 5 meters. So I'm going to use the same formula again. My base times my height. My base here is pi r squared. Then my height. So I do 3.14 for pi. I do my radius, which is 11.4 divided by 2, because my radius is always half of my diameter. I square that number, and then I'll multiply it by 5. So I just start in the middle and figure out what is 11.4 divided by 2. And then I square that number. So I guess, here I can do on my calculator. 11.4 divided by 2 is 5.7. And you square that, you get 32.49 times 5. Then I get 510.09 meters cubed. Or roughly rounded to the nearest hundredth again. Okay, all right. So that's how I did mine. I would be putting, make sure you have this formula in your notebook. I know it's also on your cheat sheet, but I would also put it in your notebook. Also, while you have your notebook out, please try and do this one in your notebook before I do it. Hit pause and see if you can get the answer before I do. Okay, hopefully you're back and you hit pause, crossing my fingers. So I did base times height, pi r squared H, 3.14 times 2 squared times 2. And I know 2 squared is 4, that's easy peasy. And then I end up with 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 3.14 is 25.12 feet cubed. You go to number 2, try and do that one in your calculator and with your notebook. So you can put D equals 33.2 millimeters in your notebook and height of 60 millimeters in your notebook and try and calculate and get this number, 51,915.5. If you didn't get that number, go back. Maybe you forgot to cut the diameter in half and make it a radius. But go back and see where we went wrong and then learn from that mistake, and then we'll go to the next one. All right, and again, you can hit pause wherever you like. Make sure it goes in your notebook though, how to find the volume of the cylinder. Next problem altogether, find the volume of the plastic building brick shown at the right. I know it's a Lego, but Lego's trademarked. So round to the nearest tenth. So first we need to figure out, what are my shapes? My shapes are a rectangular prism and a cylinder. I know how to calculate the volume for both. And then I'm going to add them. So I know prism is length times width times height. So I do a 5 by 4 by 12, which is 5 by 4 is 20. 20 times 12 is 240 inches cubed. Next, I've got two little cylinders up there. Let's hide that. Okay, so again, I'm going to do base times height. 3.14 times 1.5 cubed, because my diameter is 3 inches, so my radius is 1.5. And then I need to square that. Sorry, I think I said cubed earlier. 1.5 squared times 1, which is my height. Then 1.5 squared is 2.25. Then I end up with 7.065, but I've got two little dots up here. So I multiply that by 2, and I get 14.13. So I add what I have, my two cylinders are 14.13 plus my prism, 240, and that gives me 254.13 inches cubed. And I should have rounded to the 10th, which would have given me 0.1 instead of 0.3. Okay. So what I want you to do on lesson 6, skills practice, lesson 6 in your pink packet, you will have, let's see, over here, I want you to do number 1, number 3, number 5, number 6, and number 14. All right, thank you, and I will try and figure out how to pause this.